It's your boy, and I'm back with another video. In this video, we're going to be reading the 48 Laws of Power. Let's go straight to the video. Hopefully, you guys take notes and you can learn something off of this book. I'm going to start reading this book, and we're going to begin. Law 43. Work on the hearts and minds of others. Judgment. Coercion creates a reaction that will eventually work against you. You must seduce others into wanting to move in your direction. A person you have seduced becomes your loyal pawn. And the way to seduce others is to operate on their individual psychologies and weakness. Soften up the resistant by working on their emotions, playing on what they hold dear and what they fear. Ignore the hearts and minds of others, and they will grow to hate you. Transgression of the law. Near the end of the reign of Louis XV, all of France seemed desperate for change. When the king, grandson, and chosen successor, the future Louis XVI, married the 15-year-old daughter of the Empress of Austria, the French caught a glimpse of the future that seemed hopeful. The young bride, Marie Antoinette, was beautiful and full of life. She instantly changed the mood of the court, which was ranked with Louis XV debaucheries. Even the common people who had yet to see her talked excitingly of Marie Antoinette. The French had grown disgusted with the series of mistresses who had dominated Louis XV, and they looked forward to serving their new queen. In 1973, when Marie Antoinette publicly rode through the streets of Paris for the first time, applauding crowds swarmed around her carriage. How fortunate, she wrote her mother, to be in a position in which one can gain widespread affection at so little cost. In 1974, Louis XV died, and Louis XVI took the throne. As soon as Marie Antoinette became queen, she abandoned herself to pleasures she loved the most, ordering and wearing the most expensive gowns and jewelry in the realm, sporting the most elaborate hair in history, her sculpted coiffures rising as much as 3 feet above her head, and throwing a constant succession of masks, balls, and feats. All of these whims she paid for on credit, never concerning herself with the cost or who paid the bills. Marie Antoinette's greatest pleasure was the creation and designment of a private Garden of Eden at the Petit Trianon and Château on the grounds of Versailles, with its own woods. The garden at the Petit Trianon were to be as natural as possible, including moss applied by hand to the trees and rocks. To heighten the pastoral effect, the queen employed peasant milkmaids to milk the finest looking cows in the realm. Launderers and cheesemakers in special peasant outfits she helped design. Shepherds to tend sheep with silk ribbons around their necks. When she inspected the barns, she will watch her milkmaids squeezing milk into porcelain vases made at the Royal Ceramic Works to pass the time. Marie Antoinette will gather flowers in the woods around the Petit Trianon, or watch her good peasants doing the chores. The place became a separate world, its community limited to her chosen favorites. With each new win, the cost of maintaining the Petit Trianon soared. Meanwhile, France itself was deteriorating. There was famine and widespread discontent, even socially and so insulated courtiers seated with resentment. The queen treated them like children. Only her favor mattered, and these were becoming fewer and fewer. But Marie Antoinette did not concern herself with this. Not once throughout her reign did she read a minister report. Not once did she tour the provinces and rally the people to her side. Not once did she mingle among the Parisians or receive a delegation from them. She did none of these because as queen she felt the people owed her their affection, and she was not required to love them in return. In 1984, the Queen became embroiled in scandal as part of an elaborate swindle. The most expensive diamond necklace in Europe had been purchased under her name, and during the swindler's trial, her lavish lifestyle became public. People heard about the money she spent on jewels and dresses and mass dances. They gave her the nickname Madame Deficit. And from then on, she became the focus of the people's growing resentment when she appeared in her box at the opera. The audience greeted her with hisses. Even the court turned against her. For a while, she had been running up her huge expenditures. The country was headed for ruin. 5 years later, in 1989, an unprecedented event took place, the beginning of the French Revolution. The Queen did not worry, let the people have their little rebellion. She seemed to think it will soon quiet down, and she will be able to resume her life of pleasure. That year, the people marched on Versailles, forcing the royal family to quit the palace and take residence in Paris. This was a triumph for the rebels, but it offered the queen an opportunity to heal with the wounds she had opened and establish contact with the people. The queen, however, had not learned her lesson. Not once would she leave the palace during her stay in Paris. Her subject her subjects could not her subjects could rule in hell for all she cared. In 1792, the royal couple was moved from the palace to a prison as the revolution officially declared the end of the monarchy. The following year, Louis XVI was tried, found guilty, and Guillotine, Guillotine, Guillotinette, excuse me, as Marie Antoinette awaited the same fate. Hardly a soul came to her defense. Not one of her former friends in the court, not one of Europe's other monarchs who, as members of their own country's royal families, had all the reason in the world to show that revolution did not pay. Not even her own family in Austria, including her brother, who now sat on the throne. She became the world pariah. In October of 1993, she finally knelt at the guillotine, unrepentant and defiant to the bitter end. Interpretation. From early on, Marie Antoinette acquired the most dangerous of attitudes. As a young princess in Austria, she was endlessly flattered and conjoined as the future queen of the French court. She was the center of everyone's attention. She never learned to charm or please other people, to become attuned to their individual psychologies. She never had to work to get her way, to use calculation or cunning or the arts of persuasion. And like everyone who is indulged from an early age, she evolved into a monster of insensitivity. Marie Antoinette became the focus of an entire country dissatisfaction because it is so infuriating to meet with a person who makes no effort to seduce or attempt to persuade you, even if only for the purpose of deception. And do not imagine that she represents a bygone era or that she is even rare. Her type is today more common than ever. Such types live in their own bubble. They seem to feel they are born kings and queens, and that attention is owed them. They do not consider anyone else's nature but bulldozers over people with the self-righteous arrogance of a Marie Antoinette, pampered and indulged as children, as adults. They still believe that everything must come to them. Convinced of their own charm, they make no effort to charm, seduce, or gently persuade. In the realm of power, such attitudes are disastrous. All at all times, you must attend to those around you, gauging their particular psychology, tailoring your words to what you know will entice and seduce them. This requires energy and art. The higher your station, the greater the need to remain attuned to the hearts and minds of those below you, creating a base of support to maintain you at the pinnacle. Without that base, your power will teeter, and at the slightest change of fortune, those below will gladly assist in your fall from grace. Okay. Observance of the law. In AD 225, Choco Lion, master strategist and chief minister to the ruler of Shu in ancient China, confronted a dangerous situation. The kingdom of Wei had mounted an all-out attack of Shu on Shu from the north. More dangerous still, Wei had formed an alliance with the barbarous states to the south of Shu, led by King Mianhu. Choco Lion had to deal with this second menace from the south before he could hope to fend off Wei in the north. As Choco Lion prepared to march south against the barbarians, a wise man in his camp offered him advice. It would be impossible, this man said, to pacify the region by force. Lion will probably be Manhu, but as soon as he headed north against to deal with Will, Manhu will re-invade. It is better to win hearts, said the wise man, than cities. Better to battle with hearts than with weapons. I hope you will succeed in winning the hearts of these people. You read my thoughts, responded Choco Lion. As Lion expected, Miahu launched a powerful attack, but Lion laid a trap and managed to capture a large part of Manhu army, including the king himself. Instead of punishing or executing his prisoners, however, he separated the soldiers from their king, had their shackles removed, regaled them with food and wine, and then addressed them. You are all upright men, he said. I believe you all have parents, wives, and children waiting for you at home. They are doubtless shedding bitter tears at your fate. I am going to release you so that you can return home to your loved ones and comfort them. The men thanked Lion with tears in their eyes. Then he sent for Manhu. If I release you, asked Lion, what will you do? I will pull my army together again, answered the king, and led it against you to a decisive battle. But if you capture me a second time, I will bow to your superiority. Not only did Lion order Miahu released, he bowed to you. He gave him a gift of a horse and saddle. When angry lieutenants wondered why he did this, Lion told them, I can capture that man as easily as I can take something out of my pocket. I am trying to win his heart. When I do, peace will come of itself here in the south. As Mianhu had said he attacked again, but his own officers, whom Lion had treated so well, rebelled against him, captured him, and turned him over to Lion, who asked him again the same question as before. Mianhu replied that he had not been beaten fairly, but merely betrayed by his own officers. He will fight again, but if captured a third time, he will bow to Lion superiority. Over the following months, Lion outwitted Miahu again and again, capturing him a third, a fourth, and a fifth time. On each occasion, Miahu troops grew more dissatisfied. Liang had treated them with respect. They had lost their heart for fighting. But every time Choku Lion asked Miahu to yield, the great king will come up with another excuse. You tricked me. I lost through bad luck, on and on. If you capture me again, he will promise, I swear, I will not betray you, and so Lion will let him go. When he captured Miahu for the sixth time, he asked the king the same question again. If you captured me a seventh time, the king replied, I should give you my loyalty and never rebel again. Very well, said Lion, but if I capture you again, I will not release you. Now Miahu and his soldiers fled to a far corner of their kingdom, the region of Guj, defeated so many times. Mianhu had only one hope left. He will ask the help of King Wutugu of Wuji, who had an immense and furious army. Wutugu warriors wore an armor of tightly woven vines soaked in oil, then dried to an impenetrable hardness with Mianhu at his side. Wutugu marched this mighty army against Lion, and this time the great strategist seemed frightened, leading his men in a hurried retreat. But he was merely leading Wutugu into a trap. He cornered the king's men in a narrow valley, then lit fires set all around them. When the fires reached the soldiers, Watugu whole army burst into flames. The oil in the armor, of course, being highly flammable, all of them perished. Okay, guys, so that was chapter 43. And I will keep on reading chapter 43 in another part 2. And stay tuned for that video. Hopefully you guys enjoy. And I'm going to see you in the next part 2. Peace. Chapter 43, that's Law 43, okay? Part 1. I'm going to see you next video. Peace out, y'all.